All right, so the next thing we're going to add to this one, we're going to actually save this as, I don't know, finished game, finished, I don't know, however you want, whatever you want to save it. We're going to make it the Earth, because if you remember from the original one, here's the original one. You have Earth at the middle. The Earth really doesn't do anything except serves as a graphic thing. So if we do choose sprite, Earth, I look for moon. There is no moon, so we're going to have to make our own moon. It's pretty large, so we have to shrink it down. Change the size. I do make my Earth when I start. Sorry, where are we? Events, green flag clicked. I do make it go to 0, 0, so it's just in the middle of the screen. I should also make the player go to 0, 0 at the middle of the screen. Let's see. There you go. And if you've centered your player right, your costume, then you should be good. All right, so it looks like now it looks like the gun's actually coming out from the Earth. The other thing I did is I think I just slowly made it turn. This is up to you, just to give it some visual interest. Something pretty slow, like 0.1. So there you go. It moves really slowly. You can kind of tell it's moving, but whatever. The next thing we're going to add is the moon. Moon's a little more involved, but it is what it is. So I'm going to click ball. I like to do this just so I can kind of get the size, what I want to kind of generalize the size of the moon. So first I'm going to draw the moon. I'm just going to delete everything here. I don't need these. We're going to draw the moon. You could also make these enemies asteroids. It'd be kind of cool if you drew it like that. That looks about moon sized. We're going to also fill it not with, so this is how you would do your gradients, right? You have different gradients. We're just gonna do full. We're gonna make it a grayish color. Maybe, yeah, I think that's good, like a yellowish gray. The moon is reflecting sunlight, I suppose. There you go. And then all I did otherwise is I took my paintbrush and I just made this a little darker and then changed my paintbrush size to pretty small, like that. And then I just kind of drew in some craters. These beautiful craters I drew. You can make it accurate if you wanted to, but whatever. There's a moon. Okay. So what I did is I had this moon. The issue though I was having is if you want it to have something rotate around something, it's fairly difficult. As far as the math, it's not really. It's trig. You'd have to use a sine function and a cosine function, I believe, to make it spin around there. So I was like, well, I could teach y'all how to do that. I don't know if I want to. So right now, if I rotated this, I'll go to the direction. You'll see that it rotates just around itself. So what I did is I did a little hack, a scratch hack, is I took the moon. Let me zoom in just a little bit. I took the moon, and that's the center, right? This little crosshair. And I just made the moon move way over here. So now when I rotate it, it rotates like that. So what I probably want to do is also make this one go to 0, 0, just so I know where the center is. And then I want to make the costume. The distance from the planet to here, or to the Earth from here, is the distance here. So if I can move this down a little bit, I can figure out where I want the moon to actually orbit. Something like that's fine. So now when I orbit it, it'll orbit around the Earth. And that's because the rotation point is this point here. So it'll rotate around that point as I rotate it. So I've kind of hacked some fake physics in there. So we don't have to use cosine, sine, cosine, all that kind of stuff. to get point distance. So you give it an angle. You, I think you have to convert it to radians, whatever, or maybe it's already radians, whatever. And then you would get the X and Y. It's just a lot. It's a complex math that I don't necessarily want to go through right now. Green flag clicked. Go to the middle. We do want a forever loop here because we do want it to constantly rotate around the planet Earth. And let's just say turn 1 degree. I don't know. I think that's what I did. There you go. We got an Earth, moon. If you want to change the direction, just use a different turn, right? So if you want it to turn the other way, use the other one. I don't know the correct way the moon actually turns or rotates. Now, what I did in my game is I made this moon block bullets, but I also made it destroy asteroids or balls, enemies, whatever. So we're going to do that. And I think I put it in the bullet. I put if touching moon. Oh, let's rename this to moon. Again, you get points for renaming these to actual things. Not you get a minus point if you just left it as the default one. So bullet, we're going to say if touching edge. We're going to say if touching moon. Okay. So now if I fire it at the moon, it gets destroyed. But blocks my projectiles. The next thing I want to do is probably go to the enemy. And then add another one here. If touching, I don't need all that. If touching, doesn't matter where you put it. If touching moon, then change score by, I made mine even higher so you can like risk, right? It's risky to let the moon try to hit it, but you get extra points. So risk reward kind of thing for games. So here I got 100 points for letting the moon hit that. I can imagine this like you could have what is like those clicker games where you upgrade your stuff. Maybe you have a level and then you get points and you spend your points to upgrade things. So you could have like another moon, or you could get a bigger thing, or you get rockets that auto fire, kind of cool stuff. Now we don't have to make it that complex, but you can kind of see where you'd want to maybe do that. Then for the score, your score might still be up in the corner like this. If you double click, you get the different readouts. You can actually have like a slider bar to cheat if you wanted to. But we're just gonna do score, and then I just dragged it like right under here. You don't necessarily want to cover the gun, I guess, so you can still see where the gun's pointing. And that's pretty much it for the game. I'll show y'all later how to do like a start screen and in the screen, like when you die, and maybe even like a high score. Keep your highest score kind of thing. That's the game. That's what we got. Cool.